Welcome everyone, let's get back into it. When we last left off, we were in the Woodland of Lies, and we're about to be face to face with a little guy named Turmoil. Turmoil is a Mario EXE created by artist Scrubbed-Up, an intensely hungry, largemouth, small version of Mario. This version of Turmoil was once just a regular old Mario, until one day he consumed a mushroom containing all of Yoshi's code. This completely changed him, making him an insatiably hungry monster that feeds on other creatures. During the song Last Course, Boyfriend must dodge Turmoil's Yoshi tongue in time with the warning, or be eaten like the Wigglers and Koopas scattered throughout the forest. Boyfriend himself takes on the form of one of the enemies in Super Mario World, the Galumba. Since Galoombas don't have any hands, Boyfriend's mic sits on the ground in front of him for him to sing into. Despite not wearing a magic cape during Last Course, Turmoil can be seen wrapped in one in his free play icon. Since the release of Mario Madness V2, artist Scrubbed-Up has changed the lore of Turmoil. Instead, the story of Turmoil will follow a yokai, or Japanese ghost, that takes the form of Mario. That's where it currently stands, but is always subject to change since they're someone's OC. The final song of Woodland of Lies is Dark Forest, a song based on the Super Mario World ROM hack simply called The, or as it's better known, Coronation Day. Coronation Day is unique in that it loops itself, allowing the player to change their playthrough in order to achieve one of 5 possible endings, all of which are grim. The point of multiple playthroughs is to get as much information as possible as to what happened to Peach on Coronation Day. To give a short summary, Peach was walking through the forest one day and died, becoming possessed by the king of the forest. The spirit now inhabits the mangled, demonic, and overgrown remains of Peach's body, haunting Mario as he scrambles for answers. Story elements are left intentionally vague to give the player the opportunity to formulate their own story and theories. I've heard theories about Peach always being the forest king, theories about a cult being led by Mario to sacrifice Peach, and theories about it all being trickery of the Forest of Illusion. There's no definitive answer as to the cut and dry story of Coronation Day, and that's probably what makes this ROM hack so unique. While there's plenty to go off of story-wise for Mario's Madness, Dark Forest is actually partly based on the unused Pink Forest endings, inaccessible other than by cheating. At one point in Dark Forest, Coronation Day Peach will bring Boyfriend to the house Mario built in The, revealing one of his previous lives like in the unused well ending. The other of these endings inexplicably crashes the game due to being unfinished, hence why the world and characters become glitchy near the end and Coronation Day Peach starts screaming. The world is breaking the same way it does while being chased by them in The. The visceral scream that's sampled throughout the song comes from Peach's scream in Mario Strikers for the GameCube, while everything else is done by Yellow VA. Getting a game over in the stage brings Boyfriend to the glitchy level that Coronation Day Peach chases Mario through in The. The next Warp Star leads us to Content Cosmos, a world composed of 5 levels, all based on different Mario animations. Again, this world gives us a break from the usual spooky scary stuff and gets kinda weird. The first song is Bad Day, a song based on the Super Bad Mario series by Pastek. Super Bad Mario overlays Mario into fail videos, giving the impression that Mario is the cause. The stage takes place in a realistic corner of a room, as seen in the second clip of Super Bad Mario Episode 1. Just like in this series, Mario's is a nuisance during this track, hitting Boyfriend with Koopa shells, dropping poison mushrooms on his strum line, and even destroying the health bar. The song Bad Day itself is largely inspired by Avicii Super Mario World levels by JWKTJE, aka Kick the Jet Engine, as the mashup between levels in Super Mario World can be heard throughout the track. The poison mushroom mechanic was originally planned to change the player's keybinds for notes, forcing them to scramble to find them mid-song, but was removed due to being deemed too difficult. The next song is based on the Hot Diggity Demon cartoon Luigi's Day Out. In Luigi's Day Out, a teenage attitude Mario is forced by his mom to bring his timid younger brother with him to hang out, much to Mario's displeasure. This cartoon accurately guessed what the Mario brother's mom would look like and kinda sound like in the Mario movie almost 10 years prior. Mario exploits his brother's naivete for some cheap laughs, but the outcome may surprise you. You gotta watch the full cartoon to find out what happens, as this track only takes place during the opening cigarette break. Girlfriend replaces Daisy, and Boyfriend takes Waluigi's spot for the Funkin version of this scene. Since the player switches between Luigi and Boyfriend, Luigi can cause Boyfriend to play misanimations by missing notes himself. If the player loses as Luigi, there's a custom game over message referring to him as a scrote, in reference to the ending of Luigi's Day Out. Both Mario and Luigi's chromatics are from this cartoon, making them both voiced by Max G. The next song, Dictator, is based on the MASH cartoon Secret History of Super Mario, a short that poses the question, what if Mario was a ruthless dictator of the Mushroom Kingdom? The song Dictator is a parody of the scene in Secret History where Mario blows up Sonic for being dishonest about Shenmue on Dreamcast sales competing with his own. Instead, it's boyfriend and girlfriend promising they sabotage the Funkin Kickstarter, but Dictator Mario knows about the merchandise sales. In order to avoid being blown up and taking damage in Dictator, the player must press 2 touching notes at the same time to detonate the bullet bill at a safe distance. Towards the end of the track, Boyfriend's voice becomes higher pitched and more frantic, panicking as he's realizing he can't talk his way out of this one. Of course, Dictator Mario blows them up. The next song, Race Trader, is based on the 2014 Flash Kids cartoon Racist Mario. In this cartoon, Mario is angry that there are non-Nintendo characters racing in his game, citing that they aren't Nintendo, they're pre-Tendo. During Race Trader, Boyfriend faces off against racist Mario, who uses Mario Kart items like shells to damage the player, bombs to add obstacles to the strumline, Boo to make the notes practically invisible, and the Mushroom to speed up the song. This is the only version 2 song to not be completely overhauled from version 1 visually, other than Kratos suddenly appearing at the end. The original version of this track had samples from Mario Sunshine from Mario's voice, but now uses actual voices from the cartoon. The final song of the world, No Hope, is based on the Power Star cartoons by Daniel Sun, a Newgrounds Flash series that started in 2004, making them some of the oldest sprite animations on the site. The story follows Mario post being possessed by ghosts, hunting for Power Stars in the Mushroom Kingdom through any means necessary. The song No Hope takes place during the finale of the series, Power Star 4, having Boyfriend face off against a sword-wielding demon Mario. The blood on Mario's gloves and blade are likely from the fight with Luigi, as Mario got the sword back during the final confrontation of the series. In order to reach the end of the song, the player must dodge Demon Mario's swings in time with the sound, or their health gets halved. It's this mechanic that got the song to be named Schwing among my friends. Partway through the song, Mario gains this red flame-like aura from the Power Star, just like in the series. This, of course, like most early 2000s animations, is inspired by Dragon Ball. Now that we have Content Cosmos done and dusted, let's move on to Hellish Heights. The subject of Hellish Heights brings us right back into the main theme of Mario's madness, a gauntlet of demonic opponents just waiting to be challenged. Upon attempting to enter the first song of Hellish Heights, the player will be interrupted by the appearance of a more peculiar-looking spot on the map. This fragment of the Mario Land 2 overworld leads the player to our first song, Golden Land. Golden Land stars GB, a Mario EXE from the game Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. Initially, GB doesn't seem all that bad, singing the cheery athletic theme Mario Land 2 is known for. While the player's guard is down, GB finally takes his real form, extending the song and darkening the scenery. The reason this stage is in black and white is because the system Mario Land 2 was released on, the OG Game Boy, only supported monochromatic colors. At one point, GB and Horror Mario were one and the same, and GB was supposed to have an entire week on their own before being reduced to just one song. Regardless, he's one of the more popular characters of the mod. GB was originally created specifically for Mario's Madness by Marco Antonio, but now has their own written series in the works known as Black and White. The next track, Paranoia, is easily one of the most unique songs we've discussed on the channel. It stars Mr. Virtual, or V, an entity taking on the elongated form of Mario for the Virtual Boy. Much like how Horror Mario is the ruler of his realm, Mr. Virtual has similar powers within the Virtual Boy. When starting Paranoia, the mod itself recommends that anyone recording do so with their entire desktop, setting the tone for the kind of craziness we're going to see in this song. The song takes place in Mario Clash, an arcade-style game designed for the Virtual Boy. Since the Virtual Boy was a 3D console, the stage is divided into a foreground and background connected by 2 pipes, in which the player would have to defeat enemies by strategically using the pipes. Partway through the song, we can see stationary glitching Koopas, a common Mario enemy that would appear in games of Mario Clash. Throughout Paranoia, Mr. Virtual will shake, bob, and move the game window on a whim to distract the player. In order to taunt Boyfriend, Mr. Virtual takes on the form of Girlfriend and forces the game into full screen, ensuring your full attention, while also foreshadowing the coming events of the mod. Reducing the screen back to its original size after a few bars reveals that Mr. Virtual changed your desktop background to the repeating phrase, "It's too late." What's next? Is he gonna print me a picture of my house? In all seriousness, my jaw dropped when this happened. I've never had a mod shock me like this, which in turn gives more validity to the sheer strength V has in this domain. After this, the virtual visage of Girlfriend morphs back into our original opponent for one final trick of the eye, rapidly multiplying and subtracting the stage view while the words "I'm in your head" bump rhythmically. And then everything goes back to normal. And that's my house. No Party is based on the Mario Party DS anti-piracy series by Joey Perleone, a long-running series of fake anti-piracy measures used in the game Mario Party DS. The anti-piracy screen seemed creepy past a level supernatural, even before the personified host, DJ Hollyboo, was introduced. DJ Hollyboo is a strange games host, whose design is likely based on Mario Party 8's MC Ballyhoo, but whose attitude is strictly anti-pirate. Upon entering the stage, the aspect ratio changes to appear like a Nintendo DS emulator, and even opens up like the actual game Mario Party DS, right down to the art and music. The screen then changes to the pre-game screen for host Hoedown and preps the player by telling them, trace your apologies on the touchscreen before DJ Hollyboo attacks, just like in the main series. As the hint suggests, the player must trace out words while also playing notes to avoid taking damage. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I actually had to call Luigi on this one. I had a tough time. There is an anti-piracy screen featuring Boyfriend, Girlfriend, and Pico in place of the regular game over screen. The opponent, DJ Hollyboo, is voiced by Juno Songs, who originally voiced the character in their fan-made Host Hoedown with Lyrics video before becoming the official voice of the character for the series and this mod. Also, the hat is a completely different character named Tig Bob. Just thought you should know. And that's another 10 things about Mario's Madness. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, the third and final part is just around the corner, so I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and until next time.